Good day, everyone, and a warm welcome to our Shadow Match System webinar. It's great to see all the familiar names and faces and some new ones as well. We trust that you will find today's session insightful. The topic for today is skills and skills audits. My name is Lizette de Villiers and I'll be the host. And I will shortly hand to Peter de Villiers, the author and functional developer of Shadow Match. And he currently still holds the role as Head of Research and Development at Shadow Match. A few house rules. Your microphone is currently in the mute setting. It will remain like that for the duration of the webinar. We will, however, at the end of the webinar, enable the setting for you to unmute your microphone, and then you will be welcome to ask questions and participate in the discussion should you wish to. In the meantime, if you have a burning question, you're welcome to make use of the chat functionality. I will answer the questions and I will also collate and present the questions to Peter at the end of the webinar. From my side, over to you, Peter. Enjoy the webinar.
Thank you, Lizette. Welcome, everybody. I'm not going to waste time because we might run a bit short if we want to do everything properly. I will manage the time so that we have space and time frames available for questions. But if we would like to do that, obviously, we need to start with immediate effect. So I will share my screen and then go through the principles. We will watch a short video. It's only 2 minutes, I think 2.5 minutes. And then I will show you the skills grid as it works. So I just need to go back to the first slide so that we start at the beginning. What I want to share with you is the concept of skills in the workplace, finding the right skills for the right job, and what is the relationship between skills and behaviors and knowledge, etc., etc. So it's, for many of us, it's a refresher of previous 5 years ago, and for some of us, it might be a little bit new. So let's start. The first thing that we need to understand is if we want to determine what we need to be successful in a job, we need 3 things to be in place. The first is knowledge. Every job has a knowledge frame. There is no job where knowledge doesn't play a role. This is the ticket to the match. If you want to become an engineer, you need an engineering degree, and for some jobs, you need to be registered as a professional engineer. If you want to be a teacher, you need to be qualified as a teacher. If you want to be a builder, you need to understand what is the difference between a brick and cement, whatever it might be. We need the basics, we need the knowledge. Now, there's a lot of research being done currently, and I've read a lot about this in preparation for this webinar, is what happens with the knowledge is it tapers down. So we get trained as engineers, we end up in a job as an engineer, and we use a very small percentage of the content of the theory that we have been trained on. So a lot of the content is being sort of, it fades out because we don't actively use it, but we need the training to enable us to use the core part of the training that we got and the knowledge that we have with regards to the job in order to make the job a success. For some jobs, obviously, a knowledge frame and proof of knowledge is legally prescribed. You can't become a chartered accountant and register as a chartered accountant if you don't have the qualifications for that. You can't become a pilot if you don't have the hours and the certification as a commercial pilot to fly an aircraft. You can't become a medical doctor and a pharmacist, and we can carry on with these. There's always a knowledge frame necessary for a job, even on the most entry-level jobs. If you want to start a gardening service, you've got to get the knowledge frames in place, or else learn them as quick as possible. But once we have, and this, it's very easy to assess this. We just ask for the official training that the individual has, or we might do a knowledge assessment of what they know and what they don't know. But this is very easy to catch up with. It's a bit of a training thing. The second thing that we need is we need the skill to physically do the job. Now it becomes a little bit more challenging because this is actually, it contributes much more than the knowledge frame. Remember, the knowledge is the ticket to the match. It's the key to the door. You can't get into the job without the knowledge and the qualification or proof of the knowledge that you have. So that's the key that opens the door to specific workplaces. But then once you're there, something different comes into play, and that is the skill to do the job. Let's take a golfer, for instance, a professional golfer. You can be an engineer, understand how golf clubs are made, the metal, the best compression on the golf club shafts and the ball and the flight of a ball and the dynamics and the aerofoil of a golf ball in flight. You can understand all those things. When you want to become a professional golfer, you have to have the skill to hit the ball and hit it properly. So the skill is to physically execute the job in such a way that it works fluently, optimally, and successfully. So it's a skill, it's something we acquire through practice, we repeat, and it's a physical thing. Skills are always related to physical activities. Then the third thing that we need to be successful in the job, and this is where the big component of failure sits, is we need the behavior. We must have the behavior or the habits of a successful golfer. There are specific, we have benchmarks on professional golfers. It's fascinating to see what the benchmark looks like in terms of the behavior that is necessary to become a professional golfer. And there are some shocking pieces of information in that. For instance, their propensity to hand off is higher than their propensity to own. And we couldn't figure out why this happened, but we found that they hand off all the calculations and the management of their golf clubs and the golf selection and the club selection, everything is handed off to their caddies. They only do one thing, and that is to swing the club. So these are some of the interesting things why we cannot guess what the behaviors are for success in a specific job. So your habits must be function optimally in the environment where you play the game. So this is the environment issue of where do we have to execute this skill with the knowledge that we have about the job at hand. So these are the basics of we work, and in Shadow Match we work with the I know, I can, and I fit as a short description of what is necessary for success in a job. Obviously today we focus on this area, skills, and the skills that are necessary for a job, and we will go into some detail with that. Shadow Match has a partner worksheet. There's a support worksheet to Shadow Match. Shadow Match works with behaviors. Remember, this is where Shadow Match sits. The Shadow Match habit analysis tool sits there. Skillsgrid is the questions that we refer to for the algorithm that determines the skills that are necessary for a job. So with Skillsgrid, there are a few things that we can do. We can capture and compare skills of applicants to a benchmark, exactly the same as Shadow Match, but obviously much less complex in terms of the algorithms that work behind the scenes, which we obviously as users do not see. That's my problem. So it's a much more straight line algorithm. It's not as complex as the algorithms behind Shadow Match, but it works the same. It compares the skills of an individual to the benchmark made up of the skills of successful people doing the job. It builds a skills repository for all employees. So once a company has all their people on Skillsgrid, they've got a database of all the skills amongst the people that are employed in the business. So they've got a good outline of the skills that they have available. And you can all do all the things as with Shadow Match, multi-match people, etc., etc. And then we identify and address reasons for poor performance. Let me just go back to this slide. Poor performance in the workplace can be related to a lack of knowledge. But if this is the problem, then we have serious challenges with our recruitment process, because we must know what knowledge is necessary to do the job, and we must recruit people and make sure that they do not slip through the gate without the knowledge, because it's very tough to fill that knowledge if the knowledge gap is very big. You can't, for instance, apply to be a medical doctor, pitch up at the hospital and say, no, but I haven't been to university for 1 day, so you've got to start training me now. That's not going to happen. So it's quite logical that we can't make a mistake here. But this is now what we have as people fail in the workplace. In 25% of serious failures over a long period, they fail because of this. In 70%, they fail because of this. Only in 5% cases they fail because of this, because we get this right. This is not rocket science. We can test, analyze, ask for the qualifications. Do you have a high school, final year high school certificate, matric certificate, as we refer to in South Africa? Do you have the degree? Do you have the certificate? Are you registered as a professional, this or that? So this we get right. This is not that difficult. But when people fail in the workplace, 75% of the failures are related to this. Their behavior does not work in the environment, especially over a longer period of time. And this is much more than 75% indicate that they resign because this part didn't work for them. But we can, with a high level of comfort, say that 70% of people fail because of this, and about 20 to 25% around that, and about 5% to 10% because of knowledge. So we can, with a skills analysis, we can identify whether the reason for poor performance is related to either their behavior or their skills, critical skills that they lack for doing the job. Then the second thing is, or the fourth one on the list is, we can do an instant skills gap analysis, and we can do instant skills audits. These two are brothers. They sit next to one another. And the reason why I have shown them in brackets, or I've tagged them with a bracket, is this is seen as a major job. It's not. Yes, if you want to do it with people and you've got to interview everybody, and then you've got to guess what the skills are, and you've got a very subjective approach to maybe it's this skill and maybe it's that, maybe it's this, then it might take months and costs are very high. But you can do it in 1 day. You can do any size business, a full skills analysis, gap analysis, and a full skills audit in 1 day. Any size business. It doesn't matter how big the business is. So the question is, if we want to do it in 1 day, what is the process? This is the process. Let me show you. We want to do these two things, and we're going to do them simultaneously at one go. The CEO or the HR head of the company must send an email to everybody in the business and tell them, on Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, you must capture your skills on the Skillsgrid system. An email will be sent to you by Monday. So we must create an awareness and tell everybody, please, on Wednesday morning or Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, whatever day, at this time, we're all going to spend half an hour and we're going to do our skills, we capture our skills, and this is compulsory. So we just need to tell the people that, remember, this is when it happens. The reason why these initiatives do not work is this doesn't happen. They say, yes, do it, being created with a deadline and a time in place so that we can follow up with people who don't do it. Then create the business organogram on the system. So what we do from a shadow match perspective is the company can send us the organogram. We, in the back end, import the organogram into the system, and all the departments and sub-departments and sections are being created instantly in the system. Obviously, don't send us the organogram of a coffee shop around the corner, please, because to create is easy. You just click on create and you create a new entity or a subdivision of an entity. But for big organizations, we can do it instantly. Then we send the worksheets to all invitations to all. And if it's a really big company, the company can prepare a spreadsheet. These people must be in the benchmark. These people must not be in the benchmark, because the people in the benchmark get an additional question to list all the critical and important skills that they use every day in the workplace. And we can tag them in the spreadsheet, and we send them out in one go. And on let's say the instruction is we will do it on a Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. We send them the email at 12 on Tuesday at 12, and the emails are in their inboxes, and they know that they've got to do it the next day. Then it takes about 20 minutes. That's maybe a bit of a push. It could take about 25 minutes, but 30 minutes is long. It's slow. Unless the person has extensive skills, then there might be a bit of work to do. But it takes about 20 minutes. We'll see when we get there. And then the system then becomes, in that company, the company then has a self-updating skills repository in the system. I want to explain this. What we do is the Skillsgrid is programmed to automatically send an email to those individuals on the platform, on the system, to update their skills. And this is being done regularly. And this happens because sometimes what we have found is the consultant and the HR person and the manager and the senior manager and the internal HR consultant decides that these people must now update their skills. And then in January, the one sends an email, and in March, another one sends an email. They don't talk to one another. It's a disjointed thing. So we said, no, wait, relax. You don't have to do anything. The system will, on a regular basis, send a nice, decent, professional email to the guys. Say, guys and girls, please update your skills on the Skillsgrid system. To do that, click here. They go into their skills profile on the system, and they can update the system with the new skills that they have acquired during the time when they did the Skillsgrid and the time of the reminder. And with that, the job is done. So it's done. It's as simple as that. So what I want to do now is I'm going to ask you, if you want these slides, you can have them. I will send them to Charmaine. Just email Charmaine, or you can email info@shadowmatch.com and ask for the Skillsgrid or the skills audit slides. I will send you these slides, because in these slides, there's a link. And if you click on the link, we will then watch a video. But I'm going to stop share and then go to the video. Let me quickly go to the video and then share again, so that we just have the right thing to share. And here we go, and listen to the video. It's only 2.5 minutes. Bear with me for a few moments.
In this video, I want to explain the 3 critical components for success in the workplace. The Shadow Match team refers to these components as I know, I can, I fit. The first component, I know, is all about the knowledge necessary to do the job. Knowledge refers to theoretical knowledge, information, and the understanding of how things work and how it is done. This will include product knowledge, process knowledge, technical know-how, general business knowledge, and so forth. The second component, I can, is about the physical skills necessary to successfully do the job on an execution or practical level. A skill is the term used to refer to the physical execution of the task in a smooth and successful manner. It is in relation to this aspect that Skillsgrid is used. The third component is the I fit part of a job. This is about employee workplace compatibility. This is probably the most challenging aspect of the 3. The question is, does the behavioral patterns of the employee meet the behavioral expectation of the working environment? It is in this area where Shadow Match is used with great success. I will now explain the above by means of a few examples. A medical doctor has the knowledge to do the job because he completed his qualification to practice as a doctor. Through his years of study, he acquired the physical skills to work as an emergency medical practitioner. Will he be able to practice his profession as a doctor on an oil rig in a very remote area? This will all depend on whether his behavioral patterns function positively in the environment. Shadow match is used extensively to answer this question. Let me give you a second example. A musician has the knowledge to read and understand sheet music and the skill to play the piano. Does this mean that all pianists will be equally good at teaching music to kids at a nursery school? No. For this job, a specific and unique combination of habits are necessary. Remember, people are successful and become competent in what they do when they have the knowledge, the skill to execute the task, and the behavioral patterns that fit the environment where the job needs to be done. Shadow Match and Skillsgrid can assist in ensuring success for all.
Good. So what we will do now is we will now go into Shadow Match the system, and I will show you how this all works. So we have a company Z, it's a demo company. What I will do now is I will go to sales, and in sales, I will click on Skillsgrid and I will send an invitation to somebody. This person does not exist, so I'm going to send an invitation to somebody by the name of Kurt with a specific spelling of his name, and his surname is Kurtzen, and his email address is kurt@peterdeviliers.co.za. Good. Did I do it all right? I think, Lizette, am I right? Yeah, it looks like that's good. I'm going to unselect the Shadow Match worksheet, not select career report, not select the study report, because these are the reports that we can attach if we do Shadow Match. I'm going to ask the person just to do the Skillsgrid worksheet, and we send the email to that individual. Now the system says, good, great, Kurt Kurtzen has got an email that was sent to kurt@peterdeviliers.co.za today at 3:22, and I'm just trying to buy a bit of time because I would like to see whether this email has come into my inbox. Let's see, there's the email, Shadow Match worksheet request, and it's addressed to dear Kurt Kurtzen, and it's got a bit of an outline of what is requested from Kurt, and the system says you can do the Skillsgrid worksheet. It says, yeah, we've auto-populated your detail. We will select male there, and we will then go into the date of birth, go down and make him, no, that's a bit too old. Let's make it 1975, and we will then submit that request. The system comes back and says to us, you've got to read this. And I know we don't read it, so we're not going to read it now because we in any way don't read it as normal in a normal process, but we must try to learn the habit to read it because there might be some hidden information. And then it says, welcome to the Skillsgrid worksheet provided by company Z. And we say, yes, I'm ready to start and begin. Now, what I want to show you, dear delegates, is very, very, very straightforward. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start slow. But what I will do is I will try to manipulate the Skillsgrid questionnaire, because I know that many of you, and before we go on, I will organize for us to experience this firsthand when we are done. So please don't run away and don't close your browser now, because I've got an idea, a plan for you to experience this firsthand. So let's start with administrative skills. Now, how it works, it defines the skill and then it describes the skill, and then there are 5 levels. Your capabilities to effectively compile, control, update, and file and retrieve documents related to a business or institution in a professional manner. These documents can be either paper or computer-based. In short, effective record keeping. So that is the summary of the skill. So now the individual can decide, do I have limited skills? I can do a few basic admin tasks. I cannot plan, organize, schedule, or do other tasks related to the everyday admin of a business effectively. So I have no skill, limited, or basic. Or I'm skilled, I'm okay, I can do this. I'm comfortable with doing admin tasks that are not too complex. Highly skilled says, I can do the everyday administration of a business or organization. I have the ability to plan, organize, schedule, file, prioritize, and do administrative tasks for the everyday record keeping of a business. So that's the definition of a highly skilled individual on administrative skills. Then I'm an expert. I have the ability to apply a detail-oriented approach to administrative tasks. I am effective in prioritizing and planning. I have simplified many business admin processes. So let's say this individual is skilled. Remember, I will try to manipulate two. For the rest, I'm just going to take a soft approach. Business process design skills, the ability, this is the knowledge, experience, and ability to effectively design optimal business processes. So I can design a process. No/limited skill. I have never done this and I'm not sure how I will do it if I have to. Basic skill, I can do some basic workflow and business process design, but nothing complicated or advanced. Skilled, I am able to do extensive work to improve, optimize, and automate business processes in different areas of business. Highly skilled. This is one of my core competencies. I have experience doing it, and I had some official training on business re-engineering. Expert. I'm a professional business process design engineer with relevant and applicable tertiary qualifications. So this says I can do this. I am a professional in doing this. Let's say this individual has got a basic skill in business design. Coaching and mentoring, your capability to effectively guide and influence people to grow and progress towards reaching their goals. Let's take a bit of a time quickness on this. Limited skill, basic skill, I'm skilled, I'm highly skilled, I can coach, mentor effectively. I can effectively help people to reach their goals. Let's say this individual is there. So he's a good coach. Design and artistic skills. So I am in the artwork, a feel for, ability or technical skill to effectively create visual artwork. Let's say this individual say, I'm not there. I'm not an artist. Let's say I'm going to stretch myself if I say I have this there. Maybe no, I do not have it. I can't do it. Okay, good. Let's move on. Facilitation skills. What is this? Being able to effectively facilitate a group of people towards reaching a specific goal during a work session meeting. Remember, he said he's a good coach. So we experience that he might also be a good facilitator. Skilled, I can do this within limits, but I have to develop this skill if it becomes important for my career. So he acknowledges that he has the skill, but there's a little bit of development necessary in this area. We are on question 6 of 25. Let's push a bit on. Financial management skills, your capability to effectively manage and direct monetary resources. No or limited skill, basic skill. I'm comfortable with organizing and managing some monetary resources of the company. I can follow this system and put in place. I can follow the system and put in place to monitor the resources. Highly skilled, I can manage financial resources and plan ahead towards specific financial goals. No, I'm not there. I might be there. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, okay. 7, computer literacy skill. This is different to IT skills. This is to use a computer. Now, I want to show you what happens here. If I say I have only a basic skill and I click forward, the system says I'm happy with that. But if I say, and this is where some of the control factors come into place. If I say I am highly skilled in computer literacy, the system say, oh, really? Cool. Let's see if you are highly skilled. Now, I want to show you what happens. It says, okay, please indicate your sub-skills. Why do you say you are highly skilled? I want to know exactly what do you mean, because it's the ability, the skill to effectively use a system. Adobe Illustrator, no, none. Adobe Design, none. Adobe Photoshop, none. Microsoft Access, basic. Microsoft, no, basic there, basic. Microsoft Excel, no, basic. Microsoft Outlook, no. Microsoft PowerPoint, basic. Microsoft Publisher, none. Microsoft Visio, none. Microsoft Word, basic. Cool. SharePoint, none. Any other? I can now type what other computer skills do I have in terms of using the system. Now, I want to show you what happens now. Remember, the individual said, I'm highly skilled, but none of these have been indicated as high on the list. Check out what happens now. The system now says, listen, Mr. Kurtzen, there's a note for you. Your computer literacy skill level will be adjusted on completion of the worksheet based on the sub-skill details entered. The system is not going to show his literacy skill as highly skilled. The system will probably decide that he's only based on the level of basic because he hasn't indicated any highly skilled level on any of these software packages that we have listed. So the individual says, okay, I'm cool with that. Let's move on. IT programming skills. Now this is also, if I say no or basic or skilled or highly skilled, I'm going to show this as an example. Let's say this individual has the idea that he's an expert on IT programming skills. Now the system asks, okay, in all these languages, show us where are you highly skilled. Now remember, my information technology competency is very advanced. I understand and can utilize computers and related technologies extremely effectively to develop and program advanced application without assistance from others, without assistance. So I can do this without assistance. Okay, now assembly, C, C++, C, C++, COBOL, CSS, Delphi, yeah, and Delphi I'm skilled. Okay, I'm on HTML, I'm skilled. On Java, I know something about Java. I have on Laravel, I know something about Laravel. On MySQL, I'm skilled. PHP, no. SQL, Scratch, Swift, and nothing to add. Now I click on next. The system again says, we are not convinced. Your IT programming skill level will be adjusted on completion of the worksheet based on the sub-skill details entered. So the system has got balances, checks and balances in place. I'm not going to use another example on this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to say basic skill. No, let me do that, because let me just show you, if you say on management skills, you are highly skilled, the system wants to know, who did you manage? Where did you manage? When did you manage? For how long? How many people? What was the size of the organization? Because it's got an algorithm to take these answers and map whether the statement of being highly skilled is actually the correct statement, because the individual might be of the opinion that his management skills are very high. But if we check the detail on his IT, on his management skills and the experience, the learning that he had to acquire those skills, we say, not really. So I'm not going to do it just to save some time, but remember, I have a plan at the end, so don't go away. So now we go and we say mathematical and numerical skilled. Let's say the individual says, yeah, I can do numbers. Cool. Then negotiation skills. I am a highly skilled negotiator. This, we don't have a balance sheet in place, so we accept that. People skills, customer service skills, and we have limited, basic skills, skilled, highly skilled, expert. This individual indicated that he is skilled in customer service. Physical skills, we have, this is quite an important question, because we want to know if the person has got the physical abilities to do some tasks. And this is a bit of a challenging question, so just bear with me for 10 seconds. The ability to effectively use your body to perform tasks. It's a question that we answer with a high level of sensitivity. Listen to the answers. No limited. My physical capabilities allow to do work that is indoor, office type work. My physical capabilities allow me to do manual physical activities indoor and outdoor. So I can do physical things. My physical capabilities allow me to do taxing manual physical activity. So I've got a tough body that can do tough physical things. My body is robust and allows me to do tough manual physical activity. So I've got a strong body. I can work outdoors and I can physically work hard. And then expert, I have an extremely tough, strong, fit, resilient body that allows me to perform almost any physical task with ease. So I've got a strong body and it can take hammering. Let's say this person says, I've got a strong physical body and I've got the capabilities. Planning skills, the skill to effectively turn chaos and nothing into something, put it into structure that is possible to execute. Let's say I have got good planning skills. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I've got good planning skills. I can plan. Presentation skills. I'm a good coach. I said I have a bit of facilitation skills. Yes, let's say I have presentation skills are strong. I have project management skills. Watch out for this one. The system says, okay, basic, I accept. Skilled or highly skilled or expert, it says, okay, cool. We want to know all these things. And once you have answered all these questions, we will determine whether you have the highly skilled capabilities that you say. So you've got to answer this. So let's just skip that one for sake of time. You've got a good idea of how it works. Selling skills. This is now the ability to sell to somebody successfully. It says, let's give this person highly skilled. Let's give him a highly skilled qualification or a level there. We are on question 18 of 25, social media skills. Again, if we say social media, it says, okay, that's great. We want to know. We want to say, okay, skills on social media, Google+, high, Instagram, high, LinkedIn, high, Pinterest, skilled, Twitter, got a good idea, Yelp and Foursquare, no, I don't know, YouTube, I've got a good idea. It says, yes, let's go. It says again, your social media skills level will be adjusted on completion of the worksheet based on the sub-skills you have entered. Technical skills, to do technical things, in other words, to repair and fix technical physical stuff, very basic. And then training, teaching and lecturing skills. Let's say, no, I'm not a trainer or a lecturer, but I'm a coach. Verbal skills, the ability to fluently put sentences together and talk. This is, again, there's a catch in this question. If you say yes, remember, there's the catch there. It says in English. In English, the ability to effectively share information by expressing it through speech. English. If you select high, it says, oh, cool, tell us the other languages. So you said that you are highly skilled. We want to know what other languages you can express yourself in to be qualified as a highly skilled. Writing skills, the same. Let's say skill, and it then ask that again. It says basic. I've got the basic skills in place. And then machine operating skills. This is quite an interesting question, dear delegates. It says, to what level am I skilled in working with specific machinery? This could be front loaders or heavy trucks or boats or working on a ship deck or a pilot or whatever it might be. We want to know whether the individual has the skill for working with specific sophisticated machinery. Let's say this individual says, I am skilled. Then it says, okay, give us what skill do you have? Please list the machinery you are qualified to operate, as well as the number of hours you have on each of the machines. Example, pilot PPL license 230 hours, overhead crane 2,500 hours, whatever it might be. So we want to know the facts. And for all these heavy registered machinery, you obviously need a logbook, and you must be able to present the logbook once we want to have a look at it. And then caregiving skills to take care of people in need of caretaking. Let's say this individual says, I'm skilled in animal care. Yes, I'm skilled. Child care, basic. For people with disabilities, I'm skilled. Frail care, I am skilled. Now let's make it highly skilled. Physical, medical care, basic. And psychological and emotional, I'm highly skilled because I said I am a coach. Now this says, okay, we will adjust. We will have a look at your results and adjust. Musical skills. Can you play musical instruments or provide, make music in a professional way? And the person says, no, nothing. Now we have ended the worksheet and it took us 20 minutes. And we say the individual can view his or her results. The skills are being presented in 5 categories: 5 cognitive skills, 5 people skills, 5 communication skills, 5 technical skills, and 5 management and planning skills. Here we see that the individual is physically very strong. He's got a strong body. There on coaching and mentoring, on caregiving, etc., etc., etc. Strong skills all over the place. So we have a profile of the skills of this individual. There's a report attached to it, and it says exactly what did you tick, on what level of skill did you tick, the different checklists to back up your claim of being highly skilled or well skilled. And we have now the ability to go back. I'm just going to close this one, go back to admin. Let's see if we update admin, if the system does it for us. To update, I've got to log in again. Let's just log out. Let's log in again. And we say shadowmatch.co.za. We have that. No, not this one. We have demo at, there's a missing A there. Lizette, will you check on my work so that I don't make a mistake? I hope I get this right. If I don't get it right, I'll try again. Let's see what happens. No, I didn't get it right. That's it. I might know. Let me see. Lizette will come. Hold on. Let's see. I'm in. Good. Good. All good. Now, I think we have said that this is in sales. Let's have a look at if we have Kurt Kurtzen in sales. There he sits. There we have Kurt Kurtzen. We just completed his Skillsgrid worksheet. We see that matched to the sales benchmark, Kurt is a 7 out of 10 match to the benchmark.
Peter, I think you need to go to Skillsgrid.
Oh,
For the match.
I will now. Let me, we can, but it's not necessary. I want to show it from here. We can do that. Let's have a look at his Skillsgrid results. We now go to Kurt Kurtzen Skillsgrid results, and there we have it. Remember, he's a 7 out of 10 match. Now, if we match him to the benchmark for sales, we see there's a red spot there. There's a red spot there. There are amber spots on those 2, amber spots on those. The rest are in green. There's no indication there because the benchmark indicated that these skills are not in use at all. Here we have the outline, the key in terms of how strong the skills of the individual are. And here we have the benchmark key. If it's those lines, those there, it says that it's a helpful skill. If it's like that, it says it's an important skill, and to that level. This is an important skill, but it's not to the extent of a strong or a very strong skill. And then we have that there's no skill necessary. So we have an indication of these dark gray ones are critical skills. It says you can't do the job without these skills. And that's why these are marked in amber. That one is in red, because the difference between the individual and the benchmark is two notches. So now we have an outline of the skills of the individual, and the individual is also now part of the data that we have for this company. Now what I can do is I can do a magic thing and say, for all the people, let's export the data. And the system says, good, we will export the data for you for company Z on sales, on the department sales. These are the things that we naturally would select as the data export. You can say email, but we want to protect the identity of the individual, so we don't mark it. The company, the user must mark email, because we don't want to export emails onto a spreadsheet. And then benchmark match indicators, that must be marked. Then top 6 multi-match results. So we will match the individual to the best 6 matches that there is in the business, skills match. And then we can click here and select all the data to be exported on all the skills. Now, once we've done that, we can simply say, cool, download. Now the system says, here's your download of all your skills, of your skills audit and your skills gap analysis. We can open this, and in the normal sense of the word, this thing turns it upside down. Let's just scroll down. There we have the spreadsheet with the whole caboodle, everything on it. And you can now scroll to the right and get everything that you would like in terms of a skills gap analysis. Where are the gaps? What needs to be developed? And you can now search and manipulate the data of this export to your own likes and your own preferences. And we can do all of this for any size business in one day. With that, back to you, Lizette. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter. We couldn't see the spreadsheet, but the spreadsheet obviously gives you all the data that you've exported. I see the export Peter did was a shadow match export because it had all the PDPs in, but you can naturally on that screen select shadow match or Skillsgrid, whatever export you would like to do. So the system will, depending on the export you select, there you are. Thanks, Peter. Maybe you can just go through that again, but that's the shadow match one because it's got the conceptual fitness and the task efficiency. So maybe you want to do a Skillsgrid one as well and just show the 2 different exports. You are currently on mute.
Unmute. And then we go back and we say sales. We go to Skillsgrid. Will that be the one, Lizette?
Yes, you click on export data. There you are, Skillsgrid data. That's right.
Yeah, that's my mistake. Sorry for that. Download the Skillsgrid data, and here it comes. And we have the Skillsgrid data exported. We open it. Does it show?
No, not currently.
Okay, then we do that. We stop share and we share the screen again, and we select, no, not that one, and there we go, and there we go. So we have the Skillsgrid data exported. Obviously, we didn't export everything, but there we have the Skillsgrid export for that company. Is that it, Lizette?
Yes, thanks, Peter. I think the same applies as with the shadow match. If you select all, then obviously it will export all the benchmark data and show you all the skills compared to the benchmarks, and that's then the spreadsheet. It's quite a comprehensive spreadsheet if you select all the fields, which we didn't do for the demonstration now, but if you select all the fields, then it gives you all the skills of everybody compared to the benchmarks, and people then use that spreadsheet to determine the skills gaps and to see who needs to go on which training. There were no questions currently in the chat. I will allow for questions shortly. I just want to make a comment. Obviously, the Skillsgrid carries an additional cost. So those clients that are currently online who are using Shadowmatch, if you wish to use Skillsgrid, that's an additional system at an additional cost. There are various pricing options, so you're welcome to get in touch with your consultant, or you can send an email to us, info@shadowmatch.com or info@shadowmatch.co.za, and we can take you through the demo again, step by step, and we can then help you to discuss pricing and see what would be the best option for your needs in your business. I think at this point, Peter, let me open for questions. I just want to make a last comment. We also didn't see the pop-up. So you would remember that when Peter chose some skills and before when he clicked continue, there was a pop-up that he read. That pop-up wasn't visible to us, but that pop-up just actually pops on the screen and it says to the individual, your skills will be adjusted. So I think it's just the sharing in Zoom that sometimes prohibits those pop-ups to show. Let me enable the setting for you to unmute yourselves. Are there any case studies available for Skillsgrid? We can discuss that and we can share those that need to. I'm not aware of any currently that is documented, but we do have companies that have used it. Peter, I see you are unmuted. Would you like to comment lastly before I open for the floor?
Yeah, Lisette, I've downloaded the entire thing now, the whole caboodle, and that's what it looks like. It's got Wes Kurtzen. Can you see it, Lisette? Let me just ask.
Yes, thanks.
There's Kurtzen, the guy that we just did, and there is the whole caboodle of everything you would like to know about the skills that has been captured on the system and how it compares to the benchmark with all the gap analysis that is available on one spreadsheet. So this is how we do a full audit, and we export the data to the user as they might need to use it. That's the full export. Sorry, it was my mistake. I didn't do it properly. I just want to reflect back, Lisette, on the question about case studies. There's no case study to do. It's like mapping a reality. It's you know, it's a factual mapping of the reality of the skills that people have captured on the system. What we have experienced is that people tend to underrate themselves when they capture their skills on the system. There's a trend that people rather capture themselves one notch lower than their reality. And in some instances, the Skillsgrid system then must up their skills to match their skills as per the detail that they have captured on the analysis that we provide to support their selection. So our experience is that people tend to underrate their skills rather than to overrate their skills in the workplace. But this is a fantastic opportunity that we have to help companies build a repository of the skills that they have in the business, do a skills audit analysis, and do a skills development plan. We must also keep in mind that if you do skills development, this exercise most probably we can claim that from the skills CETAs back as part of the skills development work that we have done in a business. So it's a huge opportunity to present the company with a fantastic tool to do a skills audit, to do a skills gap analysis, to drive skills development in their business for the success of their business. And it doesn't cost them an arm and a leg, and it doesn't cost them time on consulting. It's a fully automated processes with all the algorithms in it. With that, Lisette, are there any questions? Back to you.
Thanks, Peter. I see Rita has raised her hand. So Rita, you're welcome to go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, Lisette. I just wanted to ask, maybe I missed something, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. So when we did the Skillsgrid, he benchmarked well for a coach position, but then obviously when he took him back to the company in the sales team, he was benchmarked against sales. Are there two benchmarks available? Am I seeing that correct? And how can we, because now when you pull the data, it pulls the sales, but is there a way to then just pull the benchmark against coach.
Okay.
Am I asking the question correct? I'm wondering. I'm a bit confused today.
Peter, you can go.
Rita, what happens is the Skillsgrid benchmarks are built in the business, and it's been done by the people doing their job. So how it works is, let's say, for instance, I'm in sales and I'm one of the top salespeople. We then mark the individual as a benchmark individual. Once I have captured all my skills, I go through a second exercise that takes about 2-3 minutes to indicate which skills do I use often and which skills are critical for the job. But I must be in the job to make that decision. We have companies who they set up their own skills grid benchmark, but they normally miss it because they think they know what skills are being used often and what skills are critical. So the skills are as per shadow match. It's job and position specific. And let me give you an example. As a sales job for selling coaching for a coaching practice and a sales job for selling washing machines, it's not the same thing. In some sales positions, you need, for instance, extreme strong verbal and writing skills. In some of the sales job, you don't need that. So it's different for every job. So the benchmark is created per job, per company, per environment by those people who do the job successfully. It's exactly the same as with shadow match, but it's a great question because it helps all of us to understand how it works. Thanks, Lizette.
Thanks, Peter. Paul, you're welcome to go ahead.
Yeah, Peter, I think one of the challenges that I think I've had with this, talking to other people, is what happens if people lie? And I think, you know, that's that whole thing of some people, you said people underestimate their skills. And they still, let's say, trust a face-to-face work study or a face-to-face audit. How would you answer someone around that? Is there a way of sort of counterbalancing and almost doing a case dipstick measure every now and again with people who have submitted an answer which the company thinks they are trying to BS the system?
Yeah, Paul, this is a very tough question because people, let me just explain in a minute. People go to professionals to have their CVs massaged to get a job. They pay them 100,000 Rand to get their CVs to look like they are the guy or the girl for the job. So lying has become a professional capability of our world today, and it's a crisis. But what we do is, if on those critical skills for the job, if the person says on these, let's say, for instance, my verbal skills are critical for this job, test just that. So get the person in for an interview and say, do a presentation for me because I need to test this specific skill of yours. And for the rest of it, we can ask what I want to do. And please, guys and girls around all 31 of us, please don't ask me to do it quickly because we have limited programming resources and I'm still busy with the research and how to do it. What I want to do is on critical skills, ask the person who applies or who's in the job, give me 3 names that can reference this skill for you. So 3 people must say, I vouch for this. Peter can do this. I've seen him do this, and I can bank on it that he can do it. So that we can do, but that's a development that we need to take down the line into the future. And I would like to spend some time, one of our 3 months programming time in which our team can do a lot on the skills grid next year, but we need to get through the current programming challenges for now before we get there. Lizette, I think what I want you to do is for the next questions, and before I make an announcement now, I want you to just stop the recording. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter. Just a last comment before we do that, and it's anyway time for us to stop the recording just to stay within the hour time limit, and then we will allow more questions and comments. Keep in mind, Paul, that the email that goes with the invitation to the individual will state that when they do the skills grid, they might be asked to represent evidence of their skills. So yes, if somebody reads that and it says you might be asked to present evidence of your skills and they then still lie, then so be it. But it's then important for the company when they get the person in for that interview to then ask for those evidence. You said you're highly skilled in X, Y, and Z, and as Peter rightly said, either let them do a role play, let them program something, let them do some spreadsheet exercise, whatever it might be, with regards to the job that they are applying for. So from my side, before I stop the recording, just thank you very much for all that attended. The recording will be available on the calendar, and you're welcome to share the recording with others, and we will also send the slides to those that would wish to receive them tomorrow. So I'm going to stop the recording and then I'll hand back to you, Peter.
Lisette, what I have experienced is that a lot of